We've been testing this QSAN XN4 in the lab over the last month or so, and the results have been very impressive. It's got 26 NVMe drives across the front and 2 controllers in the back, giving you a true HA configuration. And what's more is it delivers block and file services, so you get unified storage in one array. That makes this a fantastic Swiss Army knife for just about every use case in every organization. What QSAN goes head-to-head against are things like entry storage from the big guys, Dell, HPE, etc., but those are typically block-only solutions. As a unified storage appliance, QSAN brings a lot of flexibility to the table in terms of protocols. We've got Fibre Channel support on the back, if that's what you want for your block workloads. It also has Ethernet up to 200 gig E for SMB and iSCSI, in addition to modern protocols like NVMe over Fabrics, which includes TCP and RDMA. In fact, we tested both of those and we found that we were able to get over 21 gigs a second out of this box, which is better than even what QSAN quotes on their website. So whatever QSAN says on their spec sheets, know that there's probably a little bit more available out of this little XN4. And as we think about the challenges modern businesses are facing as they want to get into AI and stretch their infrastructure to do more and more, a box like this is extremely capable because it can support both sets of workloads, the traditional business apps and whatever is new coming from AI. And that can mean a couple different things. We just took a look at this DGX Spark, for instance, that has 200 gig Ethernet on the back. So you could pair a bunch of these with an enterprise array like QSAN and support what your developers want out of something like that. You could also run those same connections up to traditional servers with H100s, H200s in them, and we did some of that with this box. The other thing that's kind of nice is that they've thought ahead and made the software really nice and intuitive. So in organizations with limited IT resources, provisioning using QSM4 on this box is very straightforward. To help IT admins easily manage this QSAN array, they offer something called QSM4, which is their GUI, their administration interface for the controllers, the drives, provisioning, storage, all the typical functions you would expect in an enterprise array. That system is very easy to use. It takes just seconds to provision, shares, and even the process of connecting into a hypervisor is relatively straightforward. In fact, we did that connecting to our Proxmox cluster here just to walk through the process and help you understand how that works. We've got a tremendous amount of data in our review and that Proxmox walkthrough, a look at NVMe over TCP and RDMA and which one to use where, because there are some differences. So we've got all of that data in our full report that's linked in the description below this video. What we're going to do next though is get this out of the rack, let Kevin walk us through the hardware, because that's really important. This doesn't just compete, as I said, against the tier 1 entry storage arrays. This competes against a whole world of software-defined storage and other solutions that aren't necessarily this elegant. I think you'll see once we get these controllers out and you get a better view for what QSAN's doing from a hardware perspective, you'll see that their 20 years plus of engineering really comes together nicely in this XN4 and makes this a fantastic array for anyone that's considering an entry storage array that needs the unified storage, but also needs to be ready for whatever's next. Kevin joins me in the lab now. We've extracted the device from the rack, and I did a little intro run-up the other day that you haven't seen yet. So I'm curious, what's your favorite thing about this system?
It kind of does it all for kind of an affordable price. So you have Fibre Channel support, you have iSCSI support, you have NVMe or Fabric support. There's a lot going on in this platform that you don't generally find on entry price systems.
And I said something probably almost identical to that, so at least we're aligned on what this thing is and what it does. Fundamentally though, it's a 2-node HA storage array that goes in a market where there's a lot of other solutions, either lower end block only, a NAS, or software defined, but this is like a real storage appliance.
Yeah, so especially in that entry market, you'll have some of the enterprise systems that kind of push down into that lower, maybe 20K price range, where they're really limited platforms, and then you have these systems that are kind of trying to reach up, that they look more of a rolled your own server, not really designed to be an HA solution. So they might be offering high-speed flash performance, but when you go into it, it just looks like a normal server, which that can be fine.
Can be fine.
But we can look inside this one and kind of see, I mean, this thing was purpose-built to be an HA storage box. It's not designed to be a server. It's not designed to be anything else, just an HA service storage solution.
Right. Unified storage, block and file, as you said, and affordable. So all those things are important. I mentioned early on the, let me see if I can do this in reverse, the front of this. So we've got a 26 bay front back plane. We've got 26 NVMe SSDs inside, which is good. A little more density with 2 more. I guess it might give you a little more RAID flexibility. I don't know. Does the extra 2 matter that much?
I mean, from a practicality standpoint, it gives you 2 additional bays. But if you think about maybe some hot spares in there, something where you have just a little more flexibility. And we've seen some solutions with like 16 drives in the front, where you're looking at a very not dense solution, which may not be preferable for all use cases, and this thing kind of maximizes the amount of space you can use.
So what'd you do in our testing with this? Did you put the drives on one controller? Did you put them in 2 groups and share? How'd you set this up?
I leveraged 2 13 drive RAID 6 configurations, so 1 per controller, leveraging really the most throughput and performance from each controller. Now, if one controller failed and brought it over, you're going to be you could be in a balancing standpoint where maybe you might not reach your peak performance in the failure scenario.
Yeah, but at that point, you're more happy about the HA than getting your maximum IOPS out of the system.
Yeah, you're not really looking to benchmark a system under the assumption of like only half of it's working.
Right. Okay, so the SSDs make up about 20% of the front of the box. Then from here back, we've got space for the dual controllers, power supplies, and actually a pretty beefy component over there. Look at the size of that.
So these guys are you could consider the run flat of the enterprise storage space.
Run flats?
Well, yes, it's the power fill capacitors. So if power is cut to the system, it keeps it on long enough to flush memory into a persistent storage device. So in this case, there's a little M.2 SSD at the front, which anything in flight gets written out to that, and it keeps your data safe. And this is kind of another thing where we've seen this in enterprise storage solutions that are more on the upper range of configurations, but not necessarily at the entry side.
Well, I almost said like over-the-counter NAS, like a basic NAS doesn't typically have something like this.
Well, yeah, and
a server doesn't have this either usually.
Generally not, but one of the reasons that, or one of the ways you can get around not having this would be something like synchronous writes, but then you never really get to leverage the benefits of DRAM because it's not a persistent item. So if power fail happens, you can end up having inconsistent data failure, things like that. In this case, you can leverage the advantage of the performance boost of RAM and still has the protection if power drops.
Okay. We also have 2 power supplies, which is
pretty run-of-the-mill power supplies in the back. And then our 2 controllers.
Now they sell this is the D model, D standing for dual controller. They will sell this as a single controller module, which is actually nice if you really need to minimize cost at some edge location, or you're not sure you really need to, you could grow into it. But here, Kevin's extracted one of the controllers. Let's take a look here. What stands out?
Well, there's no wires. So if you open up a roll your own solution, you're going to find a lot of wiring, a lot of things that kind of sit in the airflow path. And on this type of setup, everything's designed to be very easy to service, or I mean, in this case, it's like you could slide a new controller in.
Right.
But vertically mounted batteries, DRAM that you don't need to take apart anything to get into the different components, and it's not complex. So you end up having a very straightforward solution where if you have a field service come up, you're swapping a controller, or in the case of expanding the connectivity options, it's easy to put in another card.
All right, so how did you configure this system for our network and our testing?
So by default, these controllers have 10 gig on board, and we leveraged a 25 gig interface. So a 25 gig add-in card, quad port per controller, so 8 ports of 25 gig for the solution, giving us...
Well, there is one more slot too, so if you wanted more, if you wanted fiber too, you could do some different things there.
Yeah, you have some flexibility there. And they also offer a 100 gig card option, so you can go to a higher speed connection over a single cable. But in our configuration, we still get, at a top end, 200 gig or so of performance aggregating all those ports together.
So in addition to just this hardware design being really strong and capable and flexible, as Kevin's illustrating with the connectivity options, QSAN XN4 is really pretty easy to use too on the software side, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was minutes. We installed the drives, saw the unprovisioned drives, stood the thing up, and it's like RAID configured in probably 30 or 60 seconds, and then volumes provisioned. It's something where, without any prior knowledge on how to leverage the platform, you could kind of get rolling in maybe 5 or 10 minutes. If you've been experienced with this, even less. So it's something where it's designed to be very simple, and that goes for creating block volumes, file volumes, and just kind of working through that ecosystem.
And there's all kinds of other stuff in there, replication, data reduction, which is optional, I believe, on your volumes.
We didn't go into that in our configuration since we're looking more for the upper end of performance.
Right.
But I mean, when you think about the number of expansion shelves you can do in here, and then add on data reduction, then you have a massive effective capacity for these solutions. Yeah,
and so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on the GUI and interface in this conversation, but we've got a lot of the screenshots on our walkthrough if you want to get a sense of what that feels like. But it's easy and capable. It's not just easy with no features, it's easy and fully featured. Performance is something that sometimes we don't spend a whole lot of time on this category of entry storage, but this actually did really well. In fact, we beat QSAN's spec sheet on a couple things. Yeah, so in our test configuration, in our file workloads, we looked at peak synthetic performance, and then we also leveraged GDSIO to look at more of an AI workflow in one of our systems with the H100s, two H100s inside of it. And I mean, it performed really well. We looked at both NVMe over TCP and NVMe over RDMA. Right. And there's benefits to both. It depends on the driver compatibility, but this system can do either. It can do normal iSCSI. It offers. The funny thing though is that you're talking about feeding H100s with an entry storage system that can also run your database too over Fibre Channel. Yeah, and what's kind of fun with this type of solution is when you're looking at modern AI workflows. Oh, I already did that part at the intro. It may not be a system with two H100s. It could be a little $3,000 or $4,000 AI box, which happens to have high-speed Ethernet on the back. Right. Yeah, 200 gig on that. I mean, even this, there's no reason why you couldn't get faster NICs in here. If customers want that, I'm sure QSAN will continue to qualify those parts and build up that bench. But yeah, the performance though, I gave the hero number of over 21 gig. Anything else stand out specific there that you want to hit? We see a lot of platforms in that have a lot of high-speed interconnect, but can't really leverage them to their full potential. This guy presented around just over 21 gigasecond read, 11 gigasecond write, and then moving over to our GSI workload for GPU direct storage. Right. We were around 11 gigasecond read and maybe 7.2 gigs a second on write. So a lot of strong performance from a system which doesn't cost all that much. Yeah. And actually, if you want to find out if you're in our US audience, in the US, JetStor sells these. You can go to jetstore.com, check that out. QSAN has distribution all over the world though, so you can check out qsan.com to learn more there. And of course, we've got the full report on the website. We'll link to that in the show description. So you can see we probably have, as usual, 20 or 30 or more charts in there of performance. So you can see anything you want. And if you want to have a conversation about this system or anything else, get in our Discord, discord.gg/StorageReview, and you can interface directly with Kevin and he'll answer all your questions. Probably won't have this system online at that time, but we can pretty much answer a lot of the work. A lot of the other questions. So we could do all of that, but the key takeaways here: enterprise storage system, more affordable, and probably as capable as anything in the tier 1 list, right? Wait, it's resilient. It's got power failure protection. It's a purpose-built solution for rugged storage. Rugged? You're gonna take it in your back of your Tacoma? Maybe resilient. Resilient storage. Yes. Yeah, so don't put it in the back of your Tacoma, but be ready to have your workload stay online if a drive fails or a controller fails or whatever. This is a really great system, and if you're looking for entry storage, if you're looking for I hate to use the cliche of the Swiss Army knife that can do it all, but this really is that, and is worth checking out.
Yeah.
So check out QSAN to learn more. We'll link to the platform in the description as well. Thanks for tuning in.